welcome to another Lumion 8 live stream tutorial. This is Chris Welton from C. Welton Design, and this time we're going to take a look at the new fixed point camera effect that shows up in the camera setting, handheld camera setting in Lumion 8. So let's go ahead and jump into Lumion 8 right now. So let's go ahead and try an example scene here. Let's see when it'll load pretty quickly. Let's go into the garden scene. Haven't been in this one very much. So this is a new effect that gives us a more controlled ability to orbit an object. Before, in Lumion, in order to get a real perfect orbit camera, it could have been pretty tricky. I had to do so, trying to really get this, perfect drone-like or aerial, camera that's going to orbit our object sort of like this. One moment. Just like that. So if you don't know what I'm doing, see that center cursor there. If you hit O and hold, that's the orbit. And essentially what we're doing is this in a camera. But before, let me just show you for example. Let's say we want to orbit this little pagoda temple object here. Let's go ahead and create our own scene. So naturally what you would think to do is probably take a shot here. I could use the orbit tool to move my camera. Here. Here. Here, and then one more kind of back to where we were. Now exactly where we were, not sure. There's some tricks we could do to actually match the exact same frame. But I'm kind of showing you the simplest way one would think to do a 360 orbit. And this works, but you're going to notice it's not perfectly even. We got some acceleration and kind of not very smooth movement going on there. Now granted, if I really wanted to take the time, we could go in there, we could fix that. We could make it smooth, but it does take time and it can be frustrating, especially for new users. So now with this new effect, this new ability, it shows up. This is one that a lot of people might not be able to catch because it's another one that shows up on an existing effect. And in this case, in the camera tab, handheld camera, there it is right there. Now it's going to work very similar control wise to where we click on this edit lookout point. It's a lot kind of like depth of field where we select a certain spot and we're going to select this part of the temple right here, or our building or our object. And now given the keyframes we've created here, we're going to get a perfect orbit now because it's set to orbit here. And what that's going to do is even if I had this frame facing this way, completely other direction, think of this as a 3D point in space, and the camera is like tied by a string to that point we picked. So no matter what way we set the camera is stuck facing that focus point. And you're going to see that effect. Remember, we set the keyframe here. Let me turn it off and see that, whoa, we're going the complete opposite way. Now with the look at focal point, this will kind of illustrate a nice smooth 360. A little bit of acceleration in there still. That's something we can adjust. But the camera's still focused. And notice that we didn't turn around. We stayed nice and focused on there. And there we go. Not perfect, but quite a lot better. Now, of course, if we wanted this to be perfect, there's a couple things we could do. I have done this before, where I've actually gone into SketchUp or my 3D modeling program and actually set cubes or objects in, like marking a perfect path and just making sure the camera sits at each one of those points. Let's try another one. Let's try to do this ourselves though. And You know, if we did that, we could get a real perfect orbit. But let's see if we try just a little bit better this time. This time I'm gonna focus around this statue tower here. So let's really try to capture right the center there. Keep a similar height. In fact, I'll show that too. Something that could help. And I should have showed you that trick to get that same frame in the beginning and end. I'll show you after this. Okay. So watching this, still just a little wonky in the path. It's kind of doing this, like see my mouse? It's kind of feels like that's what it feels like it's doing. So let's add this effect again. I'm gonna select right in here. Yep, not perfect, but it's definitely keeping that in focus, and it's keeping the camera perfectly on it throughout. That's simple. And I was going to show you a little trick here too. Notice the height here. Let's say we wanted everything to be pretty even. Let's try to get everything pretty close at 27 feet. The less variation we have in this path, the smoother Lumion can calculate it. And 27 feet again here. Let's see if that helps. That way the camera is at the same elevation. Now, definitely it's stopping right there. And that just might mean it needs more keyframes. In fact, I'm going to try another experiment here on the fly. Let's do a couple more keyframes. Just to make sure. I'll try to keep it at 27 feet. Yeah, it's hard to keep it exactly there. Let's see if this makes it any better. It might make it worse. Sometimes jamming keyframes, smashing them together to try to get that effect. It's always a battle sometimes. When you try to force the camera to do something you want. But I'm curious myself. Even if I just do a half loop here, it doesn't have to be a full 360 to show off the effect. So let's see what happens if we add more keyframes. And add this effect. Center it on here. Let's try it again. Okay, well, that worked. If I had it off, I'm kind of curious. It still works pretty well with it off, but notice with it on, it keeps the camera nice and steady. So there's the answer. More keyframes helps. And I wanted to show off this trick too while we're here. You know, this is a really simple effect. I could really get over in like 2 seconds, but might as well take this moment to kind of share off some more tricks I found. So if we want to do a perfect 360, let's go back to this main building here. You know what, I'm going to try something different. I don't want these trees to be in the way. I'm just going to put a big glorious tree that we're going to orbit. And this big giant bald cypress. It's probably the first time I've used this tree. So, alright. So what if we wanted to wanted to end, like say you wanted to have this play on a loop. You render it out and then play it back to back and just have a continuous loop. You need the frame, the first and last frame, to be exactly the same. And I'm going to show you a little trick to how to do that you can apply in many other cases here. So let's say we want this to be our first frame and our last frame. So we're going to click them both right now. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my keyframes. And we're going to do multiple. We found that smoother. And do insert photo here. And then jump to the next one. Insert photo here. And let me try to make sure we're 52.6. Let's try to make sure we're pretty close here. It doesn't have to be exactly exact. What was it, 52? 52.6? Doesn't have to be exact. Just get pretty close. And remember, holding O helps. 52.6. Doesn't really matter where I aimed. Oops. You gotta be paying attention to do this. I can still fix this though. It was somewhere in here. So yeah, make sure you're paying attention while you're doing this process. So there. Still got a ways to go back to here. I'm trying. Now I don't even remember where we started from. Let's make this simple and quick. 52.6. Insert. Jump to the next one. I'll just do two more. 52.6. Insert. And we'll do this last one right before the end. 52.6. I keep going high. And we end. That's probably a big jump. I'll add one more. I want to make sure this works. 52.6. Alright guys, and so we start and end on the same keyframe here. So that's my little trick. We can go ahead and watch this. I'll speed it up, it's 30 seconds. That's without anything. And let's add our new effect. Make sure we're orbiting on the right point. Pretty good. It looks like my heights, or probably has some more to do with my distance away, but it's not bad. And to prove that this will loop, let's copy clips. Here, going over more basic stuff in the basic tutorial. Paste clip. Now if we go the entire movie here, we'll watch this go around, and oh, fingers crossed it should loop. It might have a little bit of weird acceleration, but yeah. So there we go. That's how you make a looping video. How to keep the first keyframe and last frame the same while adding intermediate keyframes. And just for the heck of it, let's try another thing. If we decided, even though our camera's orbiting here, we decide to orbit out here. Let's see what it does. So as you can see, our 3D points that we set our camera are stayed, but the camera's stuck on a string like over here, and I can make it be on top of that mountain up there. So I think that illustrates the point. You know, very simple new effect, many new ways we can use it. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you like this content, please feel free to like this video and subscribe for more content. I got more videos coming out, and thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you next time.